Last night, Graham Hart began the story of Canadian entertainer Ray Hutchinson, now a Peterborough resident.
His singing career took off after the Beaumarks, a Montreal-based group in which he performed in the early 1960s, made it big with an international hit called Clap Your Hands.
Here's Graham with part 2 of the life and career of Ray Hutchinson.
Despite Ray Hutchinson's unqualified success in show business, life for him was anything but easy. At age 4, tuberculosis of the left hip put him in the Shriners Hospital in Montreal for 12 years and a series of operations. Later, a school for students with physical disabilities provided career training. He did well there, and then found employment with the telephone company.
My first job was working for the Bell, making $40 a week, doing odds and ends, sharpening pencils, shredding checks, and staring out the window and dreaming of becoming an entertainer.
A good singing voice, some music lessons, and a friendship with Mark Robitaille, a young victim of polio at the school, saw his dream come true when the two helped form what would become the Beaumarks. Later, despite a setback in his mid-20s when he was diagnosed with manic depressive illness, he carved out a highly successful career, performing at lounge and nightclub venues throughout Ontario and Quebec. The cane that he used for physical support became a sort of signature in his act, as he captivated audiences with his charismatic personality, clean-cut good looks, and skilled renditions of popular songs. And one of his regular stops was Peterborough.
I played quite a few places in Peterborough. I mean, I played the Jack and Bonnie King used to own a beautiful place called the Grenadier Lounge on Simcoe Street. And people from Toronto used to always come there. I also played the Rock Haven when Carl Burton owned it, and I also played the Miss Diana and the Third Dimension.
In fact, in the late 60s, he and his wife bought a large farm in Stuart Hall, just south of Peterborough. But when the marriage collapsed in the latter 70s, he returned to Montreal. He played piano bars. He became part owner of a nightclub. But after years of performing in the same general location, he admits to becoming a little overexposed. His manager had an idea.
Leave Montreal for a while and go down to Florida and make some American money, and they'll love you when you come back.
He took the advice, and according to Barry McMullen, his then keyboard player, who coincidentally also now lives in Peterborough, he brought down the house in his first show in Miami 20 years ago this month. But it would be his last. While crossing the street after that show, a bit of bad luck.
I got hit by a car. I went 20 feet in the air. This was told to me later, eh? And bingo, I was in a coma for 2 months.
When he finally came to, he'd lost just about everything, including his ability to perform. Now, in dramatic contrast to his days as one of Canada's highest-paid lounge singers, he would live in virtual poverty for months, until the accident insurance settlement finally kicked in. In the mid-90s, he moved back to Peterborough permanently to be near his daughter Melody. Then 4 years ago, when he thought his career had just about been entirely forgotten, he and Joe Frechette, the only surviving original Beaumarks who were listed as co-writers of that 60s hit Clap Your Hands, were inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. What was it like for you two when the gala event actually opened with your song?
Well, we were thrilled.
A year and a half ago, after he fell and fractured his hip, the same one that had been ravaged in his youth by tuberculosis, he moved to a local retirement residence. Slowed by the fracture and by medication he takes to control his bipolar illness and the effects of that 1988 head injury, he engages in more sedentary pursuits these days. He likes to write and to paint, and he's produced some remarkable works of art in his day. And at times he understandably basks in a little nostalgia about the days when he was at the top of the entertainment game. Does he ever regret not becoming the superstar that some music pundits of his time unabashedly predicted?
It probably wasn't in the cards. Not everybody becomes superstars. But it didn't really matter. I had a great life.
Ray Hutchinson. Well, quite a remarkable attitude, Graham.
It is, Carrie. He doesn't seem at all bitter about the difficulties he's been dealt. And, of course, he recognizes the good fortune he's had, too, a 30-plus year career that's given him a great deal of pleasure and some wonderful memories, too.
And it all began with that 1960 hit, Clap Your Hands.
That's right, Carrie. A little trivia for you. Clap Your Hands is considered, by those who know these things, the very first ever all-Canadian-made rock and roll hit. And it sold over 500,000 copies. Of course, Ray Hutchinson had a huge part to play in that success. And one more thing, Carrie. Ray celebrates his 68th birthday next week on March 20th.
Well, happy birthday, Ray. Thanks, Graham. You've done a great job.
Thanks, Carrie. I've really enjoyed doing it.